and she here to talk about business. So look, before you build, before you get into a battle, the first thing you need to do is strengthen so that you can be prepared for the storm. Welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, welcome back everybody. Happy Friday. And my special guest is back, Nicole from LegalShield. Hey Nicole, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so a lot of people wanted to know more about a lot of the business stuff. I got a lot of inbox questions about business and how you set it up to become unbreakable and challenges. And so, Nicole, I think today we're going to talk about the five top business mistakes when starting a business or being in a business. And then we're going to take a look at three recommended business structures and how to go through that particular process. And before we get started, I just kind of want to preface this. I work as a business coach, as a relationship coach, because business is really about relationships with your employers, relationship with your employees, relationship with your clients, relationship with your vendors, and being able to know how to work and set those things up is the difference in having a successful business that's making money and those that are able to survive a storm. And what you really want to do is to be able to build before the battle, and you don't strengthen in a storm, you strengthen in the setup. And so, with that being said, Nicole, hey, again, thank you for being here. And so, can we talk about those five top mistakes that businesses make that causes them to break or shake apart when a storm comes?
Yes, absolutely. And I thank you again for having me. And I'm so glad you gave that analogy about you don't build, your structure, your foundation during a storm because that's so important. And I can tell you now, one of the top 5 mistakes that a business makes is not getting any formal legal support. That's probably the very first thing that you need to get after you establish your business. A lot of business owners think they don't need it, or they, get so excited they just get right into their business. But you want to have some type of legal support, to get advice on how to run your business, what contracts need to be in place, to make sure you're following all the guidelines, state guidelines, federal guidelines, just to have all your documents in place. Because unless you've gone to law school and you're a lawyer yourself, there might be things you may be overlooking
That's
that
right.
you don't realize because you're not a lawyer.
That's
So
right.
I can say that's one of the number one things that people get wrong, or like I say, they run to Chat GPT or they run to Google,
Right.
and they start getting things off of Google, which I wouldn't recommend.
Right. And you know what's really interesting about that is a lot of people get into the storm and then try to set up those different
Mm,
shields in their business, and that's really backwards. A lot of your
right,
wealthy people figure out what structures to put in place first, and then they make their moves.
right.
That's why they're wealthy. And when you
Mhm.
don't know, you don't know. So I'm glad you're here on Unbreakable to be able to share the business structures and the top 5 mistakes. So what's the second mistake that people make?
Failure to properly review contracts and formalize agreements. Put it in writing. And again, I will obviously I will always go back to having that backing of a law firm or an attorney. Failure to properly review contracts can put you in a very bad spot, especially when it comes to formalizing agreements. If you're in a partnership with someone, even if it's your own family member, a lot of people overlook this. Oh, I'm going into business with my sister, my brother, my cousin. We're good. We're going to start our business and everything is fine until it's not.
Right, right.
You know, perfect example. I have a member who's now with LegalShield, but she went into business with her sister. Unfortunately, things went south. And when they parted ways, they were in a dispute over whose original idea it was for the business.
Mm,
And both sisters wanted to part ways, taking the business with them as their original idea.
wow.
Long story short, they went to court, battled it out. One sister won, and the other sister was left with an $18,000 court judgment against her. So, had this formalized agreement been in place, that could have prevented that dispute, and it could have, kept that family relationship intact as well. So, you want to have these things in place. You want to have your contracts reviewed to make sure that they're in the best interest for you. And it's just a smart idea,
A smart, yeah,
a
yeah.
smart strategic business move.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that because that was kind of my coaching point number one, and that was build before the battle. A
Mhm.
lot of times when you're an entrepreneur, you kind of want to take the easiest way to try to get to the money. So you'll just do a EIN number, not knowing that all of your assets, your liabilities, your
Yeah,
house, your car is open to any attack, and you're not protected. And so they can, you know how people get. They get
yeah,
funky, they get in their feelings, and the first thing they want to do is, I'm gonna sue, I'm gonna get my lawyer when
yeah,
they don't like something. And if you don't have any type of protection, like a legal shield on your team, with paying your little your monthly membership fee, then you could really catch a bad break like the one sister did. And so it's
yeah,
really important to, like you said, preparation protects your passion. And when you have the right systems, the right contracts, the right clarity, the stress becomes the strategy, not the struggle.
absolutely. And I'll always give that example because I remember when she came to me and she didn't even know what Legal Shield was, but when I explained it to her, she just really shook her head and she was like, "Oh my goodness." She was like, "I really wish I had this like 5 years ago." And so, and now she's actually part of Legal Shield as an associate to really, really help other business owners. So that will always be one example that I give.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And
So
that's,
it's so important.
yeah, that is it's super important. And I work with some people who, well, I don't want to set that up, I'm just gonna get a DBA. And I don't
Mhm.
say nothing to them because I don't want to sound like, I know it all. What I do know is you've left the front door open, the back door open, and all windows,
Yeah.
and you have no protection. But I don't tell people that, because when they're not ready, they're not ready. And the one thing that becomes a part of coaching and getting advice and getting wise counsel is structures. They don't slow you down. That's what sets you free, because
Yeah.
now you're able to move because you're protected. When you're not protected, you have to watch so many different that you don't have an opportunity to really perform. And that's where you get
Mhm.
working in your business versus working on your business.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. So what would be the third mistake that
Ooh.
businesses make?
Yeah, the third mistake is ignoring your intellectual property. This is another thing I see all the time as well. And intellectual property can include your logo, um, your any patents or non-existence of a patent. Like if you have an original idea or if you've invented something, even when I see people out here who's very, very talented and creative, where they come up with their own hair products or body oils, um, even recipes where they bake or make cakes or they sell original products or teas or anything like that.
That's right.
You want to protect that. um, if it's your great great grandma's recipe and you're selling cakes, you want to protect that because you don't know if anyone may get a hold of that, even another family
That's
member
right.
that's helping you in your business, because that family member may take that recipe or your logo or anything like that and acquire that as their own and start their own business.
Right.
So you want to go through the formal process of protecting that. And so I see a lot of people with some amazing like
Right.
logos and different unique ideas. And I ask a lot of people, like, do you have this protected? Have you formally trademarked this? And a lot of times that answer is no. And I try to at least guide them or connect them with the way to get this done. And I like to say, I'm the liaison in the community to connect them with the legal support that would help them. I'm not a lawyer, although I wish I
Right.
was,
Right. Right.
but I
Right.
love but I love being that community liaison and at least able to educate the community on a basic level to get them to the next step of getting these protections in place. But yeah, even
Right.
poetry or rappers that are out here, people writing poetry. Yeah, get that protected because you never know
Your
who's.
beauty shops
Yeah,
with their
yeah.
hair growth
Mhm,
formulas, a lot of that's
mhm.
out there that I actually see.
Yeah,
They need
yep,
to get that
that's right.
protected as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah,
So
that's very, very important. You work so hard on that. Don't let anybody steal that away from you.
I know that's right, and that takes me, Nicole, to coaching point number two. Protection is performance.
Mhm.
It's not just creating your property, bringing your ideal to life. It's really about protecting it. And you can't perform at your best when you worrying about something is going to
Yeah.
break. I know so many people
Mhm.
who have great ideas, but they won't even execute those ideas because they think somebody's going to take them. So they
Yeah.
never put their ideals out there, not knowing that when you protect it, when people like what you have, they'll pay you for it to
Yeah.
use it. They will create a contract. They will give you a percentage just because they like what you have and they don't want to create something new. They would rather pay you for it and help
Mhm.
elevate the game. And
Yeah.
so that's really super important to be able to do that. And so that was just my coaching point number two. But you had a fourth one also. The fourth problem that businesses run into.
Ooh, yeah, this is another one that's so important for business owners that have employees, whether it be W-2 employees or contractors, is the failure to prepare for employee issues.
Mm.
Because if you got employees, it's bound to happen. Either employees are going to have issues with you, you're going to have issues with them, or they're going to have issues amongst each other. And you want to prepare for that. You don't want to be caught off guard.
Right,
So, even if you just have two employees, you want to have some policies, some procedures in place. You want to have, a backing. You want to have, legal structure in place. You want to have an employee handbook. Like I said, even if it's just two employees, you want to have something in place as a guide on how employees should conduct themselves in the workplace, even if they're remote workers, what have you. It does not matter what kind of business you're operating, or if you have a brick and mortar, or if they're remote. You need to be prepared for employee issues, or if at some point they may threaten to sue you for whatever reason. You want to have some type of plan in the place. This could be catastrophic for somebody who is not
right,
prepared.
right.
Hmm.
I definitely understand that. And you may have a small team. You may have a team of three. You may have a team of five. I work with a lot of companies that have probably 25 and
Hmm.
under. They probably make up 50% of the teams I work with, and some are larger teams as well. And those things are very important to have in place. Now, I just want to be able to put this out there as well, because I do temperament AI team development training.
Hmm.
And so you may be a solopreneur, you may be an entrepreneur, or you may have a small team, but this is the time where you can add, if you don't add physical bodies, this is where you can add your AI agents to your company and automate a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And that's the part I do for the team development. I'm able to come in and develop your small team and make your team the bosses of the AI agents
Hmm.
and help automate your processes where your AI agents are actually performing the tasks and your employee is actually overseeing the AI agent. And they call that a hybrid. And people need to, well, it's going that way, regardless of whether we want it to or not.
Yeah.
And so was one of those that jumped on 2 years ago and started training in this area. But it's important to have the legal background and protection, regardless of what you do. Okay. And so there was a problem number five. What was the fifth one?
Yeah. Non-compliance with your local, state, and federal regulations, Um, and
Mhm.
this holds true for restaurants. For the most part, I think restaurants are good here, but some different, industries, again, it's going back to, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
If you don't have an expert or an attorney helping you with certain things, you can overlook something, for your business. You need somebody who is an expert in industry specific regulations for your business, to be able, to be the eyes and the ears for you, to make sure that you are in compliance with your local, state, and federal regulations for your business.
Right.
Because I can tell you one thing, devastating if you are found in non-compliance and your business is shut down for a period of time, uh, either a period of time or permanently, because you are in non-compliance.
Right.
You have uh You have marijuana dispensaries, popping up a lot now. So that's an industry where it's heavily regulated. So you definitely want to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed there. So that's just one example. But yeah, you again, you work hard to invest in your business. You want to make sure that you're in compliance with everything, especially if you're out here selling food products, selling anything that you put on your skin, any homemade products, anything that you make that is ingested in the body, especially. I tell business owners that all the time. Just double check, make sure you're in compliance with any regulations locally or in your state,
Right,
so that
right,
you are not shut down and you don't have any breaks in your revenue or in your profit. Uh, that can affect your reputation and your bottom line.
right, right. And that's super important because nobody really need no break and no income. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? You
Yeah.
need to keep the bags of money flowing
That's
consistently, you
right.
know.
That's right.
And so that will take me to coaching point number 3, and then we'll get into briefly the 3 business structures.
Yeah.
But coaching point number 3 is systems is what makes you sustainable.
Hmm.
A structure is how your success stays standing, because I've seen people just hit a little bit of turbulence
Yeah.
and they shut down. And I often wonder, what is it about that? Now, we go to school to learn how to work for other people. We need to go to school to learn how to work for ourselves and set up the right structure so that we can be successful and sustainable.
I agree.
Okay. So that was fine. So as we probably got about 3 minutes left.
Hmm.
What's the top 3 structures, or how should people structure their business when they're trying to uh open up? So let's start with the basic DBA. People, well, I'm just gonna do a DBA, and then they leave it at that. Start from there and then move forward.
Yeah. So a DBA is simply, doing business as. So, some people start with this. You don't hear it a whole lot. But you simply like doing business as, like, Nicole Rogers. I'm just gonna set my company up really simply, and I'm doing business as Nicole Rogers. And that's basically one of the most basic business structures you can set up as a sole proprietor, meaning you're doing business like, by yourself, or you're taking on like just a name, like you're
Okay.
doing business as. So very, very simple.
Now, are you legally covered if anything happens to you in terms of somebody? Let's just say I teach a course or something,
Hmm.
and somebody doesn't like what I did and they say they gonna sue me. Is my assets covered and protected? Do you know?
Now with the DBA, that I don't have like a whole lot of legal knowledge with the DBA. So with that one, I really don't know about the assets part to that one.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I
So
will I'll jump in and say this. I'm
mhm.
not a lawyer. This is
Yeah,
not
right.
legal advice.
Yeah,
However, I know a DBA does not cover your home asset, your car, your vehicle, and if someone else wins a lawsuit, you got to cash in to pay.
yeah,
So I didn't so I stayed away from a DBA right from the very beginning.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
started, I was like, I don't need that headache. It's enough trying to put systems and automate stuff in place. I don't need that mess.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Because
right.
I tell people like I'm not the lawyer. I just know like the basics.
Right.
But I can tell you the three that I am mostly familiar with is the LLC, the S corp, and the C corp.
Okay.
I do know that most business start are off as an LLC, which of course is the limited liability company.
Okay.
Um, so at least people want to separate their personal assets from, their assets and running their business. So if they're sued or if anything happens, at least they have their personal assets separated from the business so that their personal assets are not touched. So again, like I say, I at least know the very, very basics. And then, after that, I would recommend, you talking with an attorney to see what structure is best for your company.
Right.
I'll give you the basic information, but as far as what is exactly right for you and your business and your goals and where you see yourself in the future, I would definitely recommend for you to speak with an attorney. But
Okay.
in S corp and C corp is definitely um, it's more of a tax election than an actual structure. Because I know in LLC you're basically like double tax, so that's the tax on you know um,
Yeah.
yourself and also as part of
Hmm.
your profit and your revenue. So an S corp is a tax election.
Now the S
So
corp is the next one after the LLC.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So again, it's a tax election. Now if you're looking to have like shareholders, or you can elect to have an S corp.
Okay.
But if you are looking to have shareholders, of course, all those shareholders, they must be citizens of the United States. So you can't
Okay.
have any foreign shareholders there. But the key advantage of an S corp is the self employment tax on a salary. So if you're looking to pay yourself a salary as the business owner or as a CEO, or you title yourself, you may want to elect to have a C corp. But again, an attorney or even an accountant, may want to advise you of that.
Okay. So
Hmm.
now, as we get ready to bring it around,
Hmm.
so I heard and will be my wife wanted to know because she was listening to some information and that membership. There was like a monthly membership that you can pay. Was that like $39, 40 bucks ish?
Yeah, absolutely. For a business owner, we do have there's some business memberships that we have very affordable where you can get access to legal advice. So if you're a home-based business, we do have a home-based business add-on that you can add on to your regular legal plan as a family. That's as low as $29.95 a month, which is absolutely phenomenal, unheard of. And you get
Right.
you get access to some of the top law firms in the entire country. And then if you're like a larger business or you need a little bit more services, we have other plans starting as low as $49 a month all the way up to $169 a month. But in terms of a business lawyer, $400 an hour, that costs
Right, versus
more.
29, 39, or 49.
Mhm.
Look, let me just I'm gonna jump in and say this right here, right now, cause your phone bill is more than that.
Yeah.
You go out and eat more than that
Yeah.
every month.
A date night is
A
more than
date
that.
night is more than that. Um, your Netflix account, your ESPN package account is more than that.
Yeah.
If you can set yourself up to cover yourself to make extra money, which is really what's which needs to happen these days, with AI coming out. Um, invest. I mean, Chat GPT to upgrade is $20 a month. Add another $9, you got some legal. You can
Yeah.
say, "Look, I'm gonna contact my lawyer."
Yeah, from a real attorney, and you get access to over 6,000 law firms, not just one or two
Right.
attorneys, but attorneys across the entire United States. So even if you wanted to grow and scale into another state, you have that access to get that legal expertise to do so.
Right. Now you have an actual event coming up Tuesday. Y'all check you're going to spend an hour talking about what?
I'm going to spend an hour talking about going into, a deep conversation about how you can get affordable legal access to really make your business unbreakable,
That's what
and
I'm
how
saying.
and how to get access to the resources that we provide. Absolutely phenomenal that you can't get anywhere else for your business.
Right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the link from you. I'm gonna put it on all my pages. Attend this event because you can then learn how to set your stuff up in a trust. You can learn how to trademark your stuff and set your stuff up so that other people can use it. And you can have some residual income. Get in the money game and get in the money game by getting into the education table. Understand that in order to be able to grow and build a uncollapsible structure, you really have to develop your systems. That's what's going to make you sustainable. That's what's going to create your success. And those right type of frameworks is really what you need to be putting in into with your endurance and in your hustle into the game that you're trying to create. And so that's super important to do. So I will make sure I put that link. Check it out. I'm gonna be there because I want to get some more information. Plus, I want to support you. We're looking to expand into another financial bracket, and I want to make sure I cover it. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. So I'm going to do everything that I coach my clients on. I've already done it and been successful at it, or I'm currently doing it and I'm successful at it. And so that's what Unbreakable is about. Nicole, look, thank you for being here for us today. We really appreciate having you. It's always a pleasure. I know a lot of people wanted, they asked me a lot of questions. That's why I was like, can you come back? So thanks for making time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right, everybody. Look, that's our time. And just remember this, it's what you do before and after the storm that determines whether you'll stay broken or be unbreakable. That's my time, y'all.